Good day, children. Welcome to our music class. I'm Mrs. Brenda S. Alcantara, or call me Mom Brenda. Are you ready for today? Let's explore the music six. In this session, you are able to identify the notes and rests in a musical composition. What are notes? Notes are symbols that represent sound. What are rests? Rests are symbols that represent silence. This time, let us identify the notes and their time value. As I said earlier, notes are musical symbols that represent sound. We have here the table of the different kinds of notes. So we have here the whole note, the symbol, and the time value is 4 beats. Half note, the symbol, and it received 2 beats. The quarter note, the symbol, and the time value is 1 beat. Eighth note, the symbol, and the time value is half beat. And the last note is the 16th note, the symbol, and the time value of this note is 1/4 beat. 1/4 beat. This time, let's proceed to the kinds of rests and their time value. Just like notes, there are also different kinds of rests, each with a corresponding time value. Whenever you see a rest symbol in a musical composition, it signals you to pause or take a quick breath in music. So we have here the table of the different kinds of rest. The first one is the whole rest. This is the symbol, and the time value of this rest is 4 beats of silence. Next, half rest, the symbol, and it received 2 beats of silence. The quarter rest, the symbol, 1 beat of silence. The eighth rest, the symbol, and it received half beat of silence. The last rest is the 16th rest. This is the symbol, and the time value is 1/4 beat of silence. The time value of a note can also change because of the use of dots. A dot, when placed after a note or rest, increases the time value or duration of the note or rest by half of its original value. So we have here examples of a dotted note. So we have dotted quarter note. So what is the value now of this dotted quarter note? So based from the table, the original value of quarter note is 1 and half of 1 is 1/2. So therefore, the dotted quarter note received now 1 and 1/2 beats. Another example, dotted half note. So the original value of this note is 2, and we are going to plus 1 from 2 because the half of 2 is 1. So the value now of the dotted half note is 3 beats. Next is the dotted quarter rest. So the original value of this rest is 1 plus the half of 1. So we have now 1 and 1/2 beats of silence. So that is now the time value of a dotted quarter rest. Another example is dotted half rest. So we have 2, the original beat, plus 1, half of 2. So therefore, we have now 3 beats of silence, and dotted half rest. Again, as I said earlier, notes on a stop represents what pitch to play and for how long. Let us explore or let us identify the different notes. So we have here the whole note. A note having the time value of 2 half notes or 4 quarter notes represented by a ring with no stem. It is the longest note now in a common use. Next, so we have the half note. So this is the symbol of the half note. A half note is held for 2 counts, which means it lasts for twice as long as a quarter note. A half note has a stem and a white note head. Remember, the quarter note has a black note head. Another note is the quarter note. So we have here the symbol. It, it received 1 beat. The quarter note is the third note. It looks like a filled-in half note with the same stem attached. So we have here now the eighth note. This is the symbol and it worth 1/2 of a quarter note. 8 notes are notated with an oval filled in note head and a straight note stem with one flag note flag. Another is the 16th note. So we have here the symbol. A 16 notes will receive a time value of 1/4. Notes that are notated with an oval filled-in note head. They have a straight stem and 2 flags. How about rest? So we have here rest. Rest are musical symbols used to designate when to pause and not play. So we have here whole rest. This is the symbol. A whole rest lasts for 4 beats. It means it would be the equivalent of 4 beats of silence. It is rectangular shape and some people love to refer to it as an upside down hat. The half rest. So we have here the symbol. A half rest gets 2 beats and is drawn as a field in a rectangle sitting on the top of the middle line of the musical stop. It looks like a hat. So we have here the quarter rest. So this is the symbol. A quarter rest is equal in time value to a quarter note. It's a period of silence that lasts for 1 beat in 4/4 time. Next is the eighth rest. So we have here the symbol is 1/2 of a beat of silence. It consists of one slanted line with a flag attached at the top. It looks like number 7. And the last one is the 16th rest. So we have here the symbol 1/4 or 1/4 of a beat of silence. It looks like 8 rests, but it has 2 flags instead of 1. It is the same duration as a 16th note, but it represents silence. This time, let's proceed to kinds of meter and time signature. In this session, you will be able to identify the different kinds of meter and the different time signature. Movements usually follow a rhythm. Actions like running, jogging, walking have rhythm. Rhythm can also be felt in the movements of the animals, the ticking of the clock, and the movements of cars. So rhythm may be fast or slow. In music, rhythm also signifies movements. Movements in music may be counted by twos, threes, and fours. So these are arranged in meters. As I said earlier, in this lesson, you will learn more about meter. Okay, so we have here time signature. The time signature is 3/4. 3 is the number of beats in one measure, and 4 is the note value of one beat. A time signature consists of two numbers, the upper number and the lower number. The upper number of the time signature tells us the number of beats that should be in each measure. The lower number of the time signature tells us the kind of note that receives one beat. So measure is a segment of time within a piece of music defined by a given number of beats, and each measure is separated by a bar line. Within each measure, beats are represented by a particular note value, and boundaries of the bar are indicated by vertical bar line. Dividing music into bars provides regular reference points to pinpoint location within a piece of music. It also makes written music easier to follow, since each bar of stop symbols can be read and played as a batch. So we have here the illustrations of the time signature, measure, and bar. So based from the illustration, the time signature is 4/4, and so we have here two measures. So we have here the time signature 6/8 and 3/4. There are two measures. In every measure in 6/8 receives 6 beats, while in 3/4 it receives 3 beats in every measure. In a compound meter, each bit can be divided into thirds. For example, in 6/8 time, the eighth note represents 1 bit and there are 6 bits in each measure. In time signature 3/4 tells a musician that a quarter note represents 1 bit in a measure, the lower number, and that there will be 3 bits in each measure, the top number. So we have here again the illustrations of the 4/4 and the 2/4. So we have here two measure. In every measure there are 4 beats, and the quarter note receive 1 beat in 4/4. Another is the 2/4. So we have here 2 beats in every measure. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 measure. So in every measure it has a 2 beats. Example is 4/4 time signature. In this time signature, there are 4 beats possible in each measure, and the quarter note represents 1 beat. The top number of time signature tells how many beats are in each measure, and the bottom number tells which note will represent. How are you going to identify the time signature of a song? First, identify the notes that is being used in each measure and their value. Second, add the value of the notes for the top number of the time signature. And last, identify the notes that receive 1 beat for the lower number of the time signature. So rhythm in music can be divided into group which is called meters. The word meter comes from the Greek word metron, which means measure. If the notes are grouped by twos, threes, or fours, each grouping of the note is called a measure. Meter in music can be divided by twos, which is called the duple meter, by threes, known as triple meter, and by fours, which is called a quadruple meter. An accent is placed on the top of a note to signify a strong beat. So let us study the following beat patterns by clapping the patterns and give the accented beat a strong beat by clapping them loudly. So we have here the different type or kinds of a meter. The first one is the duple meter. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we have here the triple meter. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The last one is the quadruple meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the different kinds of meter. Let us summarize our lesson. So notes are musical symbols that represent sounds. Ras are symbols that represent silence. A time signature consists of two numbers, the upper number and the lower number. The upper number of the time signature tells us the number of beats that should be in each measure. The lower number of the time signature tells us the kind of note that receives one beat. Rhythm in music can be divided into group, which is called meters. The word meters come from the Greek word metron, which means measure. If the notes are grouped by twos, threes, or four, each grouping of the notes is called measure. And meter in music can be divided by twos, which is called the duple meter, by threes known as the triple meter, and by fours, which is called a quadruple meter, and an accent is placed on the top of a note to signify a strong beat. That ends our session for today. Very good and have a good day. Bye. See you next week.